Hello guys! Welcome to my class. Guys, I just want to remind you, listen carefully and focus on our lesson so that you have something to learn. Alright? And so that you will know the significance or importance of our lesson. Okay? Before we move on to our new lesson, let us have a short review regarding to our lesson last time. Our lesson last time was all about basic cookery, about basic kitchen tools and equipment. Alright? Now, what do you mean by cookery, guys? Cookery is defined as a chemical process, the mixing of ingredients, the application and withdrawal of heat, decision-making, technical knowledge, and manipulative skills. Cookery, guys, is considered to be both an art and technology. Food preparation is a modern term in professional cookery. It denotes preparation and cooking. Cookery, guys, or cooking is the art, science, and craft of using heat to prepare food for consumption. Sa madaling salita, ang cookery ay isang proseso, sining at agham na kung saan gumagamit tayo ng init upang makapagluto o makapaghanda ng pagkain. Now, basic kitchen tools and equipment. Like any craft, guys, cooking requires patience, practice, and usage of proper tools and equipment. Guys, there are hundreds of different kitchen gadgets available. Upang tayo ay makapagluto at makapaghanda ng mga pagkain, guys, kailangan natin ng sapat na pasensya, kasanayan, at pagkakaroon ng kaalaman sa tamang paggamit ng mga kasangkapan sa kusina. Okay? Now, here are the most important tools, utensils, and equipment needed. The first one, frying pan, fry pan, or skillet. A long-handled shallow pan used for frying. Next, saucepan. Saucepan is a deep cooking pan, typically round, made of metal, and with one long handle and a lid. Okay. Next, sauté pan. A wide pan with straight or slightly curved sides that are generally a little higher than those of a frying pan. Next, wok. A wok is a pan with rounded bottom and sloping sides, ideally suited for stir frying. Okay? Next, stock pot. It is traditionally used to make cooking or broth, which can be the basis for cooking more complex recipes. Okay? Next, colander. A colander is a bowl-shaped kitchen utensil with holes in it used for draining food such as pasta or rice. Okay? That is the main purpose of colander, guys. Next, strainer. It is a small wire mesh bowl with a handle. It is used to drain liquid from solid food or to remove solid bits from liquid. Alright? Next, cutting board. It is a tough board used to place material on to be cut. A cutting board, guys, is also known as a chopping board. It is a kitchen utensil used as a protective surface on which to cut or slice things. Alright? Next, ladle. Ladle is a deep spoon with a long handle usually used for serving soup and sauces. Ladle, guys, is a large, long-handled spoon with a cup-shaped bowl used for serving soup, stew, or sauce and gravies. Alright? That is the main purpose of ladle, guys. Next, mortar and pestle. A strong bowl used with a pestle to grind, crush, or smash spices and other foods. Alright. Next, measuring cup. Measuring cup, it is a kitchen utensil used to measure ingredients by volume. Measuring cups have a lip or pour spout above the top line to prevent spills. That is the use of measuring cups, guys. Next, measuring spoon. Measuring spoon is used to measure the amount of ingredients, either liquid or dry, when cooking. That is the main purpose of measuring spoon, guys. And last one, grater. It is a kitchen utensil used to grate foods into fine strips or crumbs. Alright, those are the kitchen utensils and equipment that we need to use when it comes to cooking or baking. Alright? Now, let us move on to our new lesson. Our lesson for today is all about cooking terms and procedure. Guys, The terms and procedure are very important when it comes to cooking. Because we need to follow the rules and procedures, guys, in cooking. So that we learn every step and importance of cooking. Guys, ang terms at procedure ay napakahalaga pagdating sa pagluluto. Sapagkat kailangan natin sundin ang mga tuntunin at pamamaraan sa pagluluto upang matutunan natin ang bawat hakbang at kahalagahan ng pagluluto. Alright? And this is one of the objectives we need to learn in this lesson. Okay? Now, the first one, paring. Paring, it is done by removing the skin with a knife as paring papaya, potatoes, or patola as thin as possible. When we say paring, guys, it is the act of cutting away an edge or surface. Paring means to remove skin from fruits and vegetables as well as to sculpt them into decorative shapes. They can be small items like shallots and garlic or larger ones like apples and tomatoes. Kapag sinabing paring, guys, ginagawa ito o ito ay isang proseso ng pag-aalis ng balat ng mga prutas o gulay gamit ang isang kutsilyo, katulad ng sibuyas, bawang, mansanas, mangga, patatas, papaya, patola, at marami pang iba. Alright? That is paring, guys. Next, peeling. Peeling, it is done by removing the skin between thumbs and forefinger and pulling off the skin as a bananas, orange, and cooked fruits. Peeling, guys, is a common unit process for any fruits and vegetables to produce fresh cut, minimally processed, and canned food products. The peeling process intends to remove the inedible or undesirable layer of rind or skin from raw produce. Ibig sabihin ng peeling, guys, ginagawa ito sa pamamagitan ng pag-alis ng mga balat ng mga prutas at gulay gamit ang ating mga daliri o sa pagitan ng ating mga hinlalaki at hintuturo. Ang mga pagkain na maaari natin balatan gamit ang ating hintuturo o hinlalaki ay katulad ng saging, orange, lansones, mais, lemon, at marami pang iba. Okay? That is peeling, guys. Next, blending. Blending, guys, it is done by mixing two ingredients together using a spoon or an electric mixer on low speed. When we say blending, guys, it is the process of combining two or more ingredients together so that they lose their individual characteristics and become smooth and uniform. Ayan. For example, cake batter is the result of dry and liquid ingredients that are blended together in a uniform mixture. Kapag sinabing blending, guys, ito ay ang proseso ng pagsasama-sama o paghahalo ng dalawa o higit pang sangkap na magkasama gamit ang kutsara o ang isang electric mixer sa mabilis na paraan. Katulad halimbawa, ang cake batter ay ang resulta ng tuyo at likidong mga sangkap na pinaghalo sa isang parehong timpla. Isa itong halimbawa o proseso ng blending, guys. Pagsasama o paghahalo ng dalawa o higit pang mga sangkap. Alright, that is blending. Next, number 4, scraping. When we say scraping, guys, it is done by holding the blade of knife over the surface of vegetables and scraping off the skin thinly as in radish, cucumber, carrots, camote, and gabi. Scraping, guys, means it is a process of peeling or scraping off the skin of vegetables and fruits where we use a knife or scraping blade to peel or to remove its skins into small or thin pieces. Ayan, such as radish, cucumber, carrots, camote, and many more. Ang ibig kong sabihin, guys, ang scraping ay isang proseso ng pagbabalat ng mga gulay at prutas na kung saan gumagamit tayo ng kutsilyo o scraping blade upang balatan o alisin ang mga balat nito sa maliliit o maninipis na piraso, katulad ng labanos, pipino, carrots, gabi, kamote, at marami pang iba. Okay? That is scraping, guys. Number 5, shelling. Shelling, guys, it is done by cracking or pressing the hard cover by drawing out the seeds or meat as shelling shrimps, peas, and beans. Shelling, guys, to remove something such as beans or nuts from a shell or pod. It is the act of removing the hard outer covering of something, especially nuts, eggs, or some vegetables. Guys, when we say shelling, ito yung tinatawag nating paghihimay. Alright? Guys, ito ay ginagawa sa pamamagitan ng pagbitak o pagtanggal sa matigas na takip o balat ng isang pagkain upang ito ay makain katulad ng mani, itlog, hipon, green peas, beans, at marami pang iba katulad ng inyong nakikita. Alright? That is shelling, guys. Next, beating. Beating, guys, it is done by mixing the ingredients with air bubbles with repeated round motions by an egg beater or a fork. Beating, guys, this is the rigorous mixing of ingredients using a wooden spoon, electric whisk, food mixer, or food processor. The purpose of beating, guys, is to thoroughly combine ingredients and to incorporate air, making cakes light and fluffy. Guys, beating means to stir rapidly to blend ingredients into a smooth mixture while also adding a bit of air to the mixture. Guys, beating can be done by hand with a whisk or using a stand mixer with either the paddle or whisk attachment on medium to high speed. Guys, ibig sabihin ng beating, ito yung proseso o ginagawa ito sa pamamagitan ng mabilis at paulit-ulit na paghahalo ng mga sangkap gamit ang kasangkapan. Maaaring kutsara, maaaring tinidor, maaaring whisk, or electric mixer. Kung gumagawa tayo ng cake, guys, ang layunin ng beating ay upang lubusan na pagsamahin ang mga sangkap at magkaroon ito ng hangin upang maging magaan at malambot ang cake na ating ginagawa o ating gagawin. That is the main purpose of beating, guys. Okay? Next, basting. Basting, guys, it is done by brushing or spooning pan drippings or other fat or liquid over food as it cooks. Basting, guys, simply means to cover the surface of the food or whatever else you want to baste with a liquid. The liquid can be cooking juices from the pan, melted butter, a marinade, or other sauces. Basting, guys, is a culinary technique for moistening the surface of roasting meat, poultry, or other foods with pan drippings, stock, butter, or some other liquid. In addition to contributing moisture, basting adds flavor to the surface of the meat. Guys, basting is a cooking technique that involves cooking meat with either its own juices or some type of preparations such as a sauce or marinade. Ibig sabihin, guys, ang basting ay isang proseso o pamamaraan sa pagluluto na kung saan pinapahiran ang ibabaw nito ng likido, maaring mantikilya, marinade, at iba pang mga sarsa. Katulad halimbawa kapag tayo ay nag-iihaw ng mga karne, manok, barbecue, at iba pa, ay nilalagyan natin ito o pinapahiran natin ito ng mantikilya o iba pang sarsa. Ang pangunahing layunin nito ay upang madagdagan ang magandang lasa at amoy ng pagkain na ating iniihaw o niluluto at para hindi ito lubhang maluto o masunog. That is the main purpose of basting, guys. Okay, next. Creaming. It is the process of beating or mixing ingredients with the use of a spoon or an electric mixer to make the mixture light and fluffy. When we say creaming, guys, creaming refers to the process of incorporating sugar and softened butter into a uniform, fluffy, and smooth mixture in which the sugar is dissolved and evenly dispersed. Creaming, guys, is the technique of softening solid fat, like shortening or butter, into a smooth mass or blending it with other ingredients. The technique is most often used in making buttercream, cake batter, or cookie dough. Ayan. Ibig sabihin ng creaming, guys, ito ay tumutukoy sa proseso ng paghahalo o paghahalo ng mga sangkap katulad ng asukal, mantikilya, at iba pang mga sangkap upang maging magaan at maging malambot ito. Ang pamamaraang ito ay kadalasang ginagamit sa paggawa ng buttercream, cake batter, o cookie dough. Alright? Now, what is the purpose of creaming, guys? The creaming method, guys, is usually the initial and most important step in the recipe and involves beating fat and sugar together until the mixture is light in color and increase in volume. It is important for creating air needed for leavening and thus helps to produce light and fluffy cakes. Katulad ng sinabi ko, guys, ang pinakamahalagang layunin ng creaming ay upang paghaluin ang mga sangkap upang maging magaan at malambot ito. Mahalaga ito, guys, sapagkat nakakatulong ito sa pag-alsa at pagiging malambot ng pagkain na ating ginagawa, katulad ng tinapay at cake. Alright, that is creaming, guys. Next, caramelize. Caramelize, guys, it is done by melting sugar without burning until it develops into a syrup-like state. Caramelization, guys, is a slow cooking process that occurs when sugar is cooked over low heat, causing a change in both appearance and flavor through a process called pyrolysis. During caramelization, the sugar in a food oxidizes, taking on a brown color and a rich, slightly sweet and nutty flavor. You can also caramelize pure sugar or cook it until it melts, becoming golden brown, sweet, and thick. Kapag sinabing caramelization, guys, ito yung proseso na kung saan niluluto ang purong asukal sa mahinang apoy hanggang sa matunaw, maging golden brown, matamis, at maging malapot at hanggang sa maging tulad ng syrup ito. Okay? Guys, caramelization happens when sugar is introduced to heat. Compounds are released that alter the flavor and the color of the sugar. The most immediately noticeable effect is the darkening of the sugar's color. Ibig sabihin, kapag niluto ang purong asukal ay nagkakaroon ng pagbabago sa lasa at kulay nito, na kung saan ito ang mapapansin natin kapag ginawa natin ang proseso ng caramelization. Alright? Next. Number 10, chopping. Chopping, it is done by cutting foods like pork, carrots, onions into small pieces using a chopping knife. When we say chopping, guys, means to cut food into more or less bite-sized pieces using the quick, heavy blows of a knife. If a recipe calls for something to be finely chopped, the pieces should be smaller than bite-size. And if it calls for roughly chopped, they should be slightly bigger. Ginagawa ang chopping, guys, sa pamamagitan ng pagpuputol o paghihiwa ng mga pagkain katulad ng baboy, carrot, sibuyas, patatas, at marami pang iba sa maliliit na piraso gamit ang isang chopping knife o kutsilyo. Ang purpose ng chopping, guys, ay upang maluto kaagad ang pagkain at madaling makain ng mga ito kapag ito ay niluto o nailuto na. Okay? That is chopping, guys. Next, shredding. Shredding, guys, to cut or tear food in shreds. This can be done by hand or by using a grater or food processor. To shred in cooking means to push food across or through a shredding surface to make long, narrow strips. Recipes usually call for shredded food like cheese, carrots, and cabbages. Kapag sinabing shredding, guys, ito yung proseso na kung saan itinutulak mo ang pagkain sa grater upang makahiwa ng pahaba at manipis na piraso ng pagkain. O maaaring gamitin ang kamay at kutsilyo upang makahiwa ng pahaba at maninipis na piraso ng pagkain, katulad ng carrots, cheese, repolyo, at marami pang iba. Sa shredding, guys, maaari tayong gumamit ng kutsilyo, grater, at food processor. Okay? Now, what is the difference between shredding and grating? The main difference between shred and grate is that shredding gives thin strips while grating gives tiny pieces of food which look like powder. Guys, ang pangunahing pagkakaiba ng shred at grate, ang shredding ay nagbibigay ng pahaba at manipis na strips o piraso ng pagkain habang ang grating naman ay nagbibigay ng maliliit na piraso ng pagkain na parang pulbos o powder. Okay? That is shredding, guys. Next, slicing. Slicing, guys, it is done by cutting foods into pieces forming cubes like carrots, potatoes, or strips like cabbage, baguio beans, onions, and turnips. When we say slicing, guys, slicing is a general term that means to cut across the grain into thin, uniform pieces. Almost every fruit or vegetable can be sliced, as well as other ingredients like cheese and bread. Slicing is cutting of food into thin, relatively broad slices. Ibig sabihin ng slicing guys, ito ay ginagawa sa pamamagitan ng pagputol o paghiwa ng mga pagkain sa maninipis at magkakatulad na piraso. Now, what is the difference between slicing and chopping guys? The most obvious difference between these two cooking terms has to do with the size of pieces that each cutting method yields. Chopping creates chunks or pieces of food that are roughly similar in size and shape, while slicing is cutting food in a thin broad pieces of food from a larger portion. Ang ibig kong sabihin guys, ang pagkakaiba ng chopping at slicing, ang chopping ay ang pagputol o paghiwa ng mga pagkain na halos magkapareho sa laki at hugis, habang ang slicing naman ay ang paghiwa ng pagkain sa manipis at magkakatulad na piraso ng pagkain. Alright? That is the difference between slicing and chopping. Okay, next. Pounding. It is to process pulverized foods using a mortar and pestle. Pounding, guys, is a cooking technique that turns something into a very fine powder. It can be done manually or with a machine by crushing, grinding, or pounding. Kapag sinabing pounding, guys, ito ay isang proseso o pamamaraan sa pagluluto na kung saan dinudurog, ginigiling, o ginagawang pinong pulbos ang mga pagkain. Maaari itong gawin ng mano-mano gamit ang mortar and pestle o ang isang makina. Now, what is the main purpose of pounding, guys? The main purpose of pounding, guys, when it comes to cooking is to spread the ingredients or food that is crushed on the food you will cook. A food item allows the taste of things such as spices to be more evenly distributed throughout a dish. This is done to make the food we cook tastier and more delicious. Guys, ang ibig kong sabihin, ang pangunahing layunin ng pounding pagdating sa pagluluto ay upang kumalat ang mga sangkap o pagkain na dinurog sa pagkain iyong iluluto. Ginagawa ito upang maging mas malasa at masarap ang pagkain ating iluluto o ating niluluto. Alright, that is pounding, guys. Next, sieving. Sieving, guys, it is done by straining liquids or particles of food through a sieve or strainer. Guys, the word sieve derives from sieve. Sieving, guys, is a process by which fine particles are separated from bigger particles by using a sieve. In cooking, guys, a sifter is used to separate and break up clumps in dry ingredients, such as flour, as well as to aerate and combine them. Guys, kapag sinabing sieve o sieving, ibig sabihin, ito yung tinatawag nating salaan o salain sa Tagalog. Ito yung kagamitan o kasangkapan sa kusina na kung saan ginagamit upang salain ang mga solid o likidong mga sangkap at pagkain. Sa pagluluto, ginagamit ang isang sifter o pansala upang paghiwalayin o alisin ang mga particle na natutunaw o hindi natutunaw at ang mga kumpol ng pagkain o sangkap katulad ng harina, powder, asukal, pasta, at liquid katulad ng gatas, tubig, at marami pang iba. Ginagawa ito upang maging pino at malinis ang sangkap o pagkain na ating gagamitin sa pagluluto. Alright, that is sieving, guys. Next, number 15, sifting. Sifting, guys, it is done by passing dry ingredients through a fine mesh sifter so large pieces can be removed. When we say sifting, guys, this is the preparation procedure of passing a dry ingredient such as flour or sugar through a mesh bottom sieve. This process combines air with the ingredients being sifted, making it lighter and more uniform in texture, which improves the baking or food preparation process. Guys, ibig sabihin, ito yung proseso o pamamaraan sa pagsasala sa mga sangkap o pagkain na ating iluluto. Katulad halimbawa, sinasala ang harina gamit ang sifter o strainer upang salain ito at maging pino at upang maalis ang malalaking piraso nito. Iba pang halimbawa, sinasala ang pasta, gulay, at iba pang pagkain gamit ang sifter o strainer upang maalis ang tubig at maging malinis ito. Okay? Now, what is the difference between sieve and strain? Sieve, guys, is to sieve or strain something, while sieve is to strain, sieve, or sort using a sieve. Alright, that is the difference between sifting and sieving. Okay, next, marinating. Marinating, guys, it is a process of seasoned liquid in order to flavor and tenderize. Marinating, guys, is the process of soaking foods in a seasoned, often acidic, liquid before cooking, usually meat, in a flavorful liquid called a marinade. Marinating, guys, is a technique that is used to brine in the pickling process, which led to the technique of adding flavor by immersion in liquid. Ibig sabihin ng marinating, guys, ito ay isang proseso o pamamaraan na kung saan ibinababad ang mga pagkain, kadalasan karne. Binababad o inilulubog ito sa mga pinaghalo-halong mga sangkap upang magkaroon ng mabangong amoy ito at madagdagan ang magandang lasa nito. Okay? Now, what is the purpose of marinating, guys? Marinating is a great way to intensify the flavor of food with just a few basic ingredients. The purpose of marinating is to add flavor, and in some cases, tenderized meat, chicken, and fish. Katulad ng sinabi ko, guys, ang pagmamarinate ay isang mahusay na pamamaraan at ang pangunahing layunin nito ay upang maging mas malambot ang mga pagkain katulad ng karne, manok, isda at marami pang iba at magkaroon ng mabango at masarap na lasa ito kapag ito ay niluto na. Alright, that is the main purpose of marinating, guys. Okay, and last one, cube. When we say cube, guys, it is done by cutting food into square pieces. When we say cube, guys, or cubing, means to cut food into pieces that are even, very small pieces like a square. The size is usually about the same as the chopped pieces sizes. Guys, cube or cubing, it refers to food that has been cut into uniform box-shaped pieces with all sides equal. Cooked meats are often cut into cubes to be used in recipes such as salads and casseroles. Guys, ibig sabihin ng cube, tumutukoy ito sa pagkain o ito yung proseso ng pagputol o paghiwa sa mga pagkain. Tinatadtad sa bawat piraso, pantay at kadalasang magkakapareho ang sukat. Kadalasan, ginagawa natin ang prosesong ito kapag naghihiwa tayo ng mga patatas, kalabasa, carrots, cheese, camote, at marami pang iba. Okay? That is cube, guys. Alright? And here ends our lesson about cooking terms and procedures. I hope you have learned a lot. Thank you for listening, guys. Thank you for your time. Good day and God bless you all.